Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX. And today we are back in Star Citizen asking and hopefully answering the question, should you play Star Citizen in 2025? With the release of Star Citizen 4.0 to the preview branch, we've gotten server meshing, or the first iteration of it, and the new star system of Pyro. With that release, we've also gotten various different changes to the game. We've gotten some new features, and of course, some new bugs. Most egregious of these are quantum travel bugs, which have been preventing us from quantum traveling to places we've selected, or offset from different stations, missions not completing, or mission markers not showing, ship spawning in hangars wrong and having wings tucked in underneath the landing pads or flat on their back like a puppy waiting for a tummy rub, cargo and ships disappearing from hangars, and even players getting locked out of the game because of shard locking. Basically, people get locked into a shard and have it unable to let them into any other ones, and then that shard crashes, leaving them locked out of the game. That doesn't, however, mean that Star Citizen hasn't taken some giant strides forward with the 4.0 preview. Now, 4.0 preview is not live. They still have to technically release it to the live branch, which won't be happening until they come back from their January break. And so I won't really expect that to be happening until sometime mid-January, or potentially even end of January. However, with preview, we have gotten steady 30 FPS for servers, which means that ships and ground-based AI are responsive, that their interactions are working properly. Going down and taking on a bunker is no longer something you can just run in and do without issue. You actually have to watch what you're doing and make sure that you've got enough ammunition and taking cover and that sort of stuff, so that NPCs aren't just obliterating you as soon as you walk in. We've also gotten server meshing, which means that instead of the 100 to 120 players that we used to be able to have, we can now have 600 people in an instance of a universe. And these are scattered across anywhere between 8 and 10 different servers that are hosting the various moons, planets, and stations of Stanton and Pyro. We've also gotten jump points that allow us to travel in between Stanton and Pyro, which are these long tunnels that you have to enter and then navigate your way through, avoiding obstructions, and allow you to seamlessly transition between the Stanton and Pyro servers, and allow you to travel between those with, again, no loading. It's just Star Citizen has made its big shtick. So, with the 4.0 preview launch, they've allowed us to play on that, and this is essentially a PTU build that's been pushed to live, but not quite. So what I mean by that is the progress that you make in the 4.0 preview branch should carry over, meaning that any money or ships that you purchase, reputation that you gain, all of that should carry over when 4.0 is released to live in January. However, it also means that a lot of the bugs that they were still waiting on and still trying to clear up, and some of the features that they were trying to get working, among them the mission refactors, engineering, and various other things, have not made it into the live branch, and those will be pushed to live when 4.0 goes live, hopefully again somewhere in the end of January. Another thing that's been added in to the 4.0 preview branch, and once 4.0 goes to live will be in live, are contested zones. These are PvPvE areas inside Pyro stations, and these allow you to get into combat versus other players or versus NPCs. They're essentially dark zones like in Destiny, or areas where you have to get in and clear them of NPCs and other players, which contain a decent number of high-tier rewards, including special attachments for FPS weapons, components for your ships, ship weapons, and if you manage to make it all the way through all 7 of these contested zones, the various different executive zones in other stations, and the final hangar, you can actually get a ship bound to your in-game account, meaning it will get wiped if there are wipes further down the line, but it acts like a ship that you've purchased inside the game, so it's something that you can claim and move at any time, something that you can fly around in between game sessions, and something that can be shared with other players and other people in your org if they wish to jump on and play with you and fly around. It's not something that you just get for that game session. Another benefit of 4.0 with the improved performance is that mining is now quite smooth. You no longer have the random jumps and ticks of stuff not moving correctly. The charge indicators are now indicating correctly your charge, and mining overall has been working much smoother than in the previous 3.24.3 branch. There is currently a bug where surface minables are not working correctly, so you'll have to go out to the asteroid rings of the Iron Halo or the yellow asteroid rings, or potentially some of the rings around Pyro to actually get mining done. But when you do find a mineable that is properly indicating, you can do so quite smoothly and easily now. One benefit of jumping in to the 4.0 preview branch, especially if you're a returning player or someone who's just new to the game, is that with the 4.0 wipe from the progress of 3.24.3, everyone is now starting off at the same spot. Obviously, any ships that you've purchased will still carry over, but if you're looking at just a starter pack, those are all things anyone with a basic starter pack is all going to start at the same spot. One of the reasons that I'm also looking forward to 4.0 going live, and I guess technically the rest of 2025, is that CIG has announced that they're going to be working more towards patches that focus on content and on a playable and stable game. So what this means is that instead of releasing patches when the features that they're working on, such as engineering or life support, are fully implemented in the game, they're instead going to be moving towards a content release, so that they'll be adding a particular mission chain or something like Siege of Orison or the Save Stanton missions that we've had at the end here of 3.24.3. They're also going to be focusing on having a more stable experience, which means less bugs, less needs for resets and wipes, and an overall improved and stable performance with the ability to play with minimal bugs. They've also said that features are going to be moving towards completion before they're pushed to the live build, which means that instead of having a feature that's only halfway implemented, pushed on, tested, and then neglected for another year or 2 years, all of those things will be published more or less in a finished state, and we'll be able to play them as they were intended. In the first quarter of 2025, we should see 4.0 go to live. This will include the mission refactor, full implementation of the reputation system, and the Pyrostar Plasma Burst, which is a new and dangerous feature that's been added to Pyro that can shut down your ship using an EMP burst if you're not paying attention and don't take cover from it. Engineering should also see further progress, and we should see that implemented in the first quarter of 2025, or potentially if they still have a lot to work on in the second quarter. In the second quarter, we're hoping to see some base building work, possibly with small stations or outposts added to the game, somewhere that we can get in and practice with those new base building ships such as the Galaxy, and the new base building drones and base building ships. CIG has shown progress on that throughout the CitizenCon demo that they showed off in October.
The next shuttle is approaching the station.
And we're hoping that we'll be seeing some of that here in the near future. We may also see the release, or at least in the preview branch, of the third system of Star Citizen, Nyx, which contains the landing zone of Delamar and Levski, where we'll be able to experience a dark nebula system, which contains an asteroid base and also one planet. Nyx is also projected to add scanning, which should have special features, potentially long-distance scanning, and a more in-depth scanning mechanic to go along with the difficulty of scanning that the Dark Nebula in Nyx adds to the game. Work on the quantum travel and quantum boost system should also be implemented in the near future. We're hoping for that in the second quarter, but it may be pushed to the third or fourth quarter. We'll just have to see what progress CIG makes on that. For the third quarter and beyond, we're hoping to see continued work, a stable game, focus on adding features and content, and an overall smooth experience, potentially with the release of Castra, the fourth system, to the 4. Whatever it is, 4.x at that time preview branch, for testing sometime in late 2025. So another question that we're hoping to ask and answer is what sort of game Star Citizen intends to be, and what sort of players should play it in 2025. If you're a person who is looking for an extremely smooth and stable experience, free of bugs and playing like any other AAA game, Star Citizen in 2025 is probably still not something that you should look into. Feel free to join on any of the various different free fly events throughout the year. Keep an eye on things, watch their YouTube videos, etc. But Star Citizen in 2025, I still don't think is going to be a completely bug-free and smooth experience. CIG said that they're going to be pushing for it, but it's still in development. There's still going to be bugs. There's still going to be some issues. If you're a person who's been following the progress for several years or even a decade or so at this point, and have been waiting for 4.0 to release, you might want to wait until 4.0 actually drops to live, or potentially even a 4.1 patch in end of March, as a lot of the egregious bugs that we've been having throughout the gameplay of the 4.0 preview should have been fixed up by that time, and CIG's push towards a more stable and reliable game should be well underway, meaning that the smoother and stabler experience that you've been waiting for should be available for you to jump in and play. And if you're one of those people who's used to testing alpha games and really just wants to get in and experience it, 4.0 is available to play now live. It is in the preview branch, but as you can see, this is on the 4.0 test, and it's something that we can get in and play freely now Of course, you've purchased a game package and have backed Star Citizen. If you're one of those people who hasn't yet, consider using my referral code down below in the description. If you still have to create your account, as this will give you some extra in-game credits and potentially some armor and weapons attached to your account for use inside the game. All in all, 2025 is looking to be a good year for Star Citizen, with new features being developed, the focus on content and playability, and of course the increase in speed of development the CIG have demonstrated, and the new features that CitizenCon showed off, including the new planetary generation Tech 5, our Starchitect, which is going to allow them to place buildings and outposts at high frequency using procedural generation across the planet, and the many other features that I spoke of earlier being added to the game and put into development. It's all looking to be a good year for Star Citizen and a good year for the player base in general. If you're willing to brave the bugs and willing to jump in and play with the rest of us, consider doing that. And of course, hit that like and subscribe button if you've made it this far. And I look forward to seeing you in Star Citizen. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta.